Well, hello, and you're watching the Lillian McMorris Show. We have a special edition for you today because this month something very, very special goes on, and not only in the state of Nevada, but across the nation, and that's the Dr. Martin Luther King Week, Dr. Martin Luther King Parades. I've been to some of the largest ones across the United States, but I'm going to tell you there's nothing like home. And for the man that's responsible for this, over half of his life he has dedicated to Dr. Martin Luther King. Please welcome our guest for today, Mr. Wendell P. Williams. Welcome, Wendell.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Let's talk about this. I mean, this is like our 32nd annual, and I would just like to know what was in your mind 32 years ago.
Well, I think about it all the time, and it's hard to really nail it down. But when I arrived in Las Vegas, having lived in the southern part of the United States, where Dr. King was more relevant, if you will, in people's mind, and understood his mission and blueprint for our society. And coming to Las Vegas, that was an absence of that type of gratitude and celebration of his life.
But that has taken so much commitment from you. I mean, we're talking about 16 years or 18 years in education, 16 years in our state legislature as a politician. None of those add up to 32 years of total dedication to our community and making sure our kids are educated about Dr. Martin Luther King. Our community is educated. You collaborate efforts with other organizations so that they can get the opportunity, for instance, like the NAACP and the teachers and what have you, to educate not only our kids but our community. That takes a whole lot of dedication and commitment.
Well, I appreciate that, but actually the 32 years that I've done this is really minute compared to how Dr. King gave his whole life for us. So having to do 30 years is a small token from my standpoint on giving to our community what Dr. King has given to the world.
What do you want us to know?
I think people should know that the blueprint for the beloved community that Dr. King talked about and what he designed is more relevant today than it was when he first designed it. The things of peace in our relationships, peace in our community, peace throughout the world is so much more important today than it was then.
True.
And it shows how much vision that he had opposed to a dream, actually.
And what that is always the thing is living the dream. I mean, regardless of what, over the past 30 years, I mean, I was there from when you first brought it to us and said, this is what I want to do. Right. And each year we start out living the dream and continue on with a statement.
Right.
And each year that statement becomes more profound. Is that because you feel it's more important now that we not only relive it, but do it?
Well, that's my new slogan this year, wake up and live the dream. So, actually Dr. King's dream was actually an action plan. And out of all the holidays that we celebrate in America, we celebrate 10 national holidays in America. This is the only holiday that is not a day off, it's a day on. So we encourage people to live the dream by helping others.
Correct.
Dedicating yourself to peace, becoming a better person internally, as well as building relationships with each other. And that's what's going to make our world a better place for future generations.
And speaking of being a better place, you're a historian. What do you tell our kids? Because they're not getting what we got when we went to school as far as history goes. What do you tell? Because you go to the schools, you're starting a museum, you do conferences and seminars in reference to the Dr. Martin Luther King legacy. So being an educator and being a historian, what is the bottom line that you want our students to take away from what you give?
Well, of course they don't see, and they can't see what we saw. And the fact that we lived it and we survived it and we continue to survive it, a part of it is our fault because we're not dedicating enough time to making sure that they know what we know and learn what we've learned. So it's a continuous effort. And I think that's something that we all have to do. And we're going to keep doing it until it's done.
Well, we have several committees each year that work on different things. So let's start out with the banquet. This year it's going to be on Saturday, January the 11th at the Orleans. And what can we expect?
We can expect, first of all, the concept and objective is to raise money for scholarships so our young people can get the opportunity to be educated to the point where they'll know what the dream is in their lives and become better, productive, and fruitful citizens. The other thing, we'll have the opportunity to hear from our first African-American member of Congress, Congressman Stephen Horsford, will be our keynote. And, of course, this dinner allows us to have time to reflect and to build and to act for the future.
Right. And you also give honor to wonderful students within our community. They're highlighted at the banquet.
Right. And we're going to highlight individuals in our community who have, for many of us, given us the opportunity to have the type of life that we have now, such as Ruby Duncan, Councilman Barlow, who's up and coming and an upstart that's building our community, Ida Gaines, as well as Pastor Cherry. So we're looking at honoring people who have done for others.
Okay.
That's what we're all about.
Giving back. That's what it's about. Okay, then we're going to do the whole week, and we've got some education seminars and some other things that we're collaborating with other organizations that week.
Right. One of the things that we'd like to do now is to have King Week be compiled and composed of other organizations and other individuals. We've never thought that the MLK committee was the panacea of how we celebrate Dr. King.
No, it's a collaborative effort.
Nevada Black Caucus is bringing in representatives from the White House who are specialists in education.
Okay.
They'll take a day. The NAACP, of course, is doing
right.
one. We have our Gospel Fest, but one of the most enjoyable events that we do is our Young Dreamers, at least for me.
No, it is. Absolutely.
And that's when we have the 19 schools that are namesakes of African Americans. One student per grade is selected by their school to be honored and who have shown the idealism of Dr. King, doing the right thing, not bullying, helping others, trying to do your homework, being respectful, and that's a great event.
Now let's talk a little bit about the parade, because that is actually Martin Luther King Day, that Monday, January the 20th, downtown Las Vegas. And it has grown so much over the years. And we got just a little time. Let's give like a brief history of how the parade and where it actually started.
Okay, it started in that first parade was 1982. A parade was in West Las Vegas.
Correct, down Owens.
Down Owens Avenue. And actually, I was working for the city of Las Vegas at the Doolittle Community Center. And every year when the college students would come home, we'd have a MLK basketball tournament.
Right.
And the Westernettes drill team.
Don't we remember them?
Rehearsed at Doolittle. And I said to them, why don't you guys come out and do a routine to kick off the tournament? And then I'm thinking, a car or two. Here's a parade.
Right.
So we had 13 entries.
13 entries.
13 entries.
And at that time, the Edmonds Center was on the opposite side of the street than it is now.
Old
Nucleus Plaza.
Right.
And John Edmonds hosted everybody in there and what have you.
In the parking lot.
Yeah.
And we had one fire engine. And I told Reverend Willie Davis, go catch the fire truck and jump on it. You're the Grand Marshal. And now we got people asking to be Grand Marshal.
Right.
But, I get attributed to as founder of this, but it has not been without people such as yourself and many other people who've made this happen. It couldn't be done. It couldn't have been done by one person.
But the dream and the vision, just like we say the dream and the vision of Dr. Martin Luther King, 32 years later, this was the dream and the vision of Wendell P Williams. And that's what we all have to remember. Regardless of the committees that have come and gone, the collaborative efforts that have come and gone, you're still standing.
Well, it was a decision to move it to downtown Las Vegas, and I like to tell people that all the major parades in Las Vegas are downtown.
Correct.
We're very proud that Dr. King was African American, but he was larger than one community.
Absolutely.
He was larger than one community, so he has to be in the heart of our city. And the first time it was downtown, the second year, your daughter, Rosie, was in the parade as a princess. Now, I've got those photographs. I've got those pictures and the interview we did with her. Now, I mean, she's an adult. She's now teaching her dream. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, for me, there's so many rewards when I see other people who are doing things. Look at, Congressman Horsford, who will be our keynote speaker, was once in our youth committee.
Right.
And now he's in the United States Congress speaking to the group. Right. So, I mean, the rewards are untold and still revealing themselves when it comes to myself.
And this year, I'm sure, will be, again, one of the largest.
We will be. We have, for the first time, we have a group. We have a band coming from China. We have people coming from Baltimore, Maryland, Omaha, Nebraska. And I never would have believed if somebody had told me that this parade would be on television and having the lovely Lillian McMorris broadcasting and hosting the parade, and MGM Resorts International is our major sponsor.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you
look
to
forward
MGM.
to that.
We look
Yes.
forward to all of our sponsors,
I do.
all of our media sponsors, and particularly we thank you so much
Well,
for
thank
allowing
you.
us to
Thank
have
you.
access to what we do.
Thank you. We've had a great interview, don't you think? A little more insight. We might get some outtakes or what have you about history, but mark your calendars. The dinner is January the 11th, which is a Saturday evening at the Orleans, and the parade
January 20th.
is January the 20th, which is a Monday, and we're going to be there most of the day. And then we'll probably have the Dream Fest thereafter,
Right.
and have a lot of fun in the community.
Right.
And giving back to the community is what it is all about. Dr. Martin Luther King's dream was living the dream, not sitting on your duff, but living and doing, and that's what we do. And collaborative efforts and diversity is extremely important in what we do to honor the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And we want to thank you, Wendell P. Williams, from my heart, from our community, for not only bringing it, but your commitment to it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm Lillian McMorris, and this is the Lillian McMorris Show. For more information on any of the activities for the Dr. Martin Luther King Week, please go to their website. It's kingweeklasvegas.com.
Uh-huh.